There we go. Come on, Instagram. Welcome to everyone. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Final Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Turbo the CEO. I got Big Mike back, the sensei. This is episode number 23. We have a very interesting topic that we're going to go over. It's going to be a series. Man, I don't know how long this is going to take, but we're going to be talking about this for a while. It's going to be fun. And the title of the series is The Man Behind the Mask. And our approach is how it relates to some of Hollywood's most iconic movies. Some of these movies are cult classics, and they have a various range from the 60s to present. And we're going to discuss these movies and talk about who is behind the mask. And our first movie that we're going to be discussing is They Live, which is one of my fan favorites. And actually, Mike and I, when we first met, it was a topic that we discussed in our very first conversation. And we just had that mental meld from there. So we're going to get right into it, man. We're going to talk about They Live and how it relates to who is behind the mask and what is Hollywood really trying to tell us. So let's go. Absolutely. Let's give him a hand first.
So to lay the groundwork for talking about this, you have to understand that number one, Hollywood or the media is always going to tell you what they want you to know. Okay, so they're going to tell you what's going on. You just have to be able to see it. So let's talk about the term, because a lot of what we're going to be talking about is going to be called conspiracies. People who watch this are going to be, oh, you're just conspiracy theorists and you're spreading misinformation. So this is what you're going to hear if you discuss these topics. If you have the audacity to open your mouth and speak your mind and have an opinion that's different than the mainstream opinion, then you're going to be called a radical, or you can all kinds of nasty names. So the first term that we talk about, which ties into the second term, is called conspiracy theorist. So a conspiracy theory or conspiracy theorist says you don't have any facts and you're just making up these lies. And so the term, a lot of folks thought that it came from the 1963 Kennedy assassination, but it actually didn't. It came from 1881 when James Garfield got shot, president. And there were different theories and ideas about what happened. Well, the term was used, conspiracy theorists, to discredit those who had differing opinions than the mainstream opinion. So that's when it started. So it's back before the 1900s. So these terms are used to anybody who has a different opinion than you can call them these names. And therefore, nobody will listen to them or pay them any attention at all. And that's the whole premise here, is that we're exposing that and saying, look, you're allowed to have different opinions. You're allowed to think for yourself, because we're not sheep, right? We hopefully have the ability to see something and try to find the truth in it. And there's an actual term that is called discernment. Discernment is being able to see something and see the truth of what's truly behind it. What's really behind what you're looking at. It's discernment. And being into, say, okay, well, if I have media that's coming at me, the first thing I have to do is put on my glasses to understand and say, okay, what is coming at me from where? Where am I getting my media? So just for giggles and grins, we say in 1983, so that's been a minute ago, right? But not too long ago, because for a lot of us, we were definitely alive in 1983. 90% of American media in 1983 was controlled by 50 companies. Okay, now this is 1983. Now by 2011, we're not even talking 2020 or 2024, we're talking 2011. The same 90% is controlled by 6 companies. Wow. 6 companies control 90% of media. 90% of what you consume. We consume media. We watch Netflix. We watch YouTube. We watch all these media content types, Instagram, we're all controlled. Now, believe me, since 2011 to 2024, there's more big players because now we have Facebook involved, right? And we have all the different facets of that, and how much have they grown, how much influence do they have? So this isn't even taking that into consideration. This is just, we're talking old school, right?
Mm-hmm.
General Electric, they own Comcast, Universal Pictures. Now, believe me, some of this data might be outdated, but the concept is there. News Corp owns Fox, Wall Street Journal, New York Post, Disney, ABC, ESPN, Pixar, Miramax, Marvel Studios. Here's your movies. A lot of your movies came out.
Right.
Viacom owns MTV, Nickelodeon, all your Nick stuff, BET, CMT, Paramount Pictures. It's another one we consume. Next one, Time Warner. They control CNN, HBO, Time Warner Brothers. There's a lot. Warner Brothers. A lot that they control. And then CBS owns Time, Estonian, NFL. They own Jeopardy. My God, the most popular TV show of all time was Jeopardy.
Jeopardy, right.
60 Minutes. So you look at this media that we're consuming, and this doesn't even talk about the Associated Press. The Associated Press, which is called the AP, is a privately owned company. You can't find out who owns the AP, but the AP feeds every media outlet in the country. Yep. So that means you're getting your media from
one source. Mm-hmm.
The AP.
Yep.
And when you hear a story and you channel, what are you going to get? The same exact story. So we look at that and say, okay, now we understand where our media is coming from. And if the powers that be are in control, they don't care if we know. And the reason why they don't care if we know is because of this. If you ever heard in a jar, you put them in a cooker, and you want to cook them under pressure so they cook faster and then they can seal. And so this is how you preserve food. It's called a pressure cooker. And the thought process behind the pressure cookers uses heat, steam, and pressure. So when you're cooking something, you're cooking under pressure with steam. And then what happens is if the container that's sealed is too hot, it's got a valve on it, and it's a pressure relief valve, and you can hear it whistling. What it does, yes, it blows off steam so that you don't blow up the sealed container. In the same thought process, we, as I'm going to call us sheeple, because we do tend to act like sheeple. We don't think for ourselves. We follow the crowd. We need pressure relief valves once in a while. Otherwise, we question it too much. Wait a minute, this doesn't look right. And then once it doesn't look right, you start to really want to pull the curtain back and see what's going on. But then the pressure relief valve comes, and we just let out the pressure now. We don't have to open the curtains. And so that's what ends up
rabbit hole. Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to go down a rabbit hole, because just when you start to go down a rabbit hole and start to really ask the hard questions, the pressure relief valve blows off some steam, and now you just back off because, oh, yeah, I'm satisfied now. So that's the methodology behind it. That's how it functions and how it actually works mechanically, okay? And you can take that thought process and apply it to anything. Apply it to our politics, apply it to anything. So this is why you discredit anyone who has a differing opinion, and you give them dirty names. It's terrible. It's terrible. The names come out. The moment you express a different opinion, you get called the nastiest names that you could ever imagine. And it's like, why? What did I do? I'm just asking a simple question. I just have, I just want to know what's going on. Nothing serious. I just want to know what's up. So the force behind the mask that's one force, okay? One force is the media. But you also have to understand that in the same time frame, our banks who run our money, okay? The nation's 10 largest financial institutions hold 54% of the total assets in 1990. They held 20. So in 83, they held 54%. By 1990, they held 20%.
Keep talking. I'll be right back. I got to do something real quick. I'm listening.
Yep. So you look at what are the number of banks. Banks have gone from 37 banks to just become 4 banks. JP Morgan, Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Citigroup have become our finances. So if you don't belong to one of the four major banks, that's what controls the money. And if you ever notice and you hear about banks going out of business, it's the little banks that are going out of business, not the big corporately owned banks. So it's a consolidation. It's just, I call it the Walmart effect. Okay. It's the Walmart effect of financing. This is why if you can belong to a credit union, a teacher's credit union, or a naval credit union, or any of the credit unions, do your business with them. Do your business with a local small bank that's not owned by the big bank. That's who you do your banking business with, because then you're not controlled by the big four financially. Okay. You have a little bit more control, especially in credit unions. That's your best place if you're going to do money or anything with money. You go to your credit unions. I think it's the smartest place you could financially operate in today's crazy world. So what you're seeing is and I only gave you 2 examples, but in everything in our life that had diversification is now consolidating down to being held within 2 to 4 to 6 major companies.
Yep.
And they own everything. And then you don't think that these people that own things aren't going to push for their agenda, for what they want to see?
Absolutely.
Right. So
and the board members are all shared too.
And the board members are board members amongst them. They are a board member on this one and that one and that one and that one. And so they all talk, they're tied together. So they're all one big happy family, but they look like they're competitors, but there's so few of them. They all belong to the same club. And we are not in that club. Okay? We're not in that club. And the reason, I'll give you an example. When silver dropped at one point down to $12 an ounce, I went to go out and buy a bunch of silver. But the silver, I had to pay what's called spot plus. In other words, it was at $17 an ounce. It got to 12. I wanted to buy a bunch of it. And I had to pay still $17 an ounce because I'm a little guy. If I bought in bulk, big guy, I could have gotten it to $12 an ounce. So the big guys protect themselves, and the little guy is screwed. So if you buy silver or gold to diversify your portfolio, you're going to pay a premium buying it. And then when you go to sell it, you're going to pay a premium selling it. So you tend to lose on both sides of that equation, right? Financially, you tend to lose on both sides of the equation.
Right.
So let's go ahead and move into a little bit of digging into the they live.
All right.
Now,
so
go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you a question, but if you're ready to just go
ask a question. Please do.
You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. First question. As it relates to the movie They Live, who do you think represents the force behind the mask in They Live? And how do their actions reflect the underlying power structures in society?
So that's a good question.
Thank you, sir.
Because we want to know who's behind what's going on. And we led into that a little bit just a moment ago as to who do you really think is behind it? What represents that?
Right.
There are 10 companies that control everything. Everything we do is controlled by 10 companies. And if you look at those 10 companies, they control all the small companies. Anytime a company goes public, they're eaten up by the big 10. So you ask, who's in control of that? And look, you can go Google it yourself. It's out there. This information is not hidden. It's right there. You can do a breakdown and do a list of what companies own what. And it's graphical. And it shows you all the companies owned by the major companies.
True.
Look, so that's who's behind the mask. That's who it is, the Big 10. Treat it like a corporation. You got these Big 10 companies that are all members of the board. Okay? And that corporation that they're all members of, those Big 10 companies, that's who's running the show because they talk to each other. They have the agenda. They know what they want to do.
Absolutely.
So in the movie, what happens is there's aliens, okay? And they're trying to take over the planet. So what they did is they use our resources And then they utilize global warming. Listen to this. And we're talking
Right.
about a movie that is
Yeah.
old, man.
You talk
It
about
is 1988, okay?
Mhm.
And they're using global warming to make the planet more like their home planet so they can take it over. So if we had an alien invasion, it was right in your face, you think you would fight against it, right? But if the enemy came disguised and you didn't know that they were the enemy, then you just happily go about your life. So what happens is in this movie, starts out with a preacher warning that they, okay, that's the term, they.
They, right. Interesting.
It's not us.
Right.
It's
they.
Have recruited the rich and powerful to control humanity. That's the beginning of the movie. You're getting a warning. Hey, they are controlling us. So now, how are we controlled in today's world? We're controlled by the media we consume, the products we buy. Okay? We're controlled by the laws and regulations that are placed upon us because we're law-abiding citizens. So therefore, we abide by the laws that are placed on us. So we are controlled. We have the illusion of freedom in this country. We don't have true freedom. If I went downtown and to the park and gathered a bunch of people and started talking about the evils of taxation without representation and started talking about the high taxes we pay, we get nothing for, you think that I'd be able to sit down there and talk about all that stuff?
Oh, no.
No, somebody come and tell me I don't have a permit.
Yeah, you need a permit.
You need a permit. So I have to ask permission to exercise my First Amendment right of free speech. I'm sorry, but that's not freedom, is it?
No, not at all.
So how do their actions reflect the underlying power structures? Because they're in concert. They are synchronized with each other. They work together. And their job is to separate us. Because if we are divided, you heard the statement, united we stand, divided we fall. If we are divided as a people, then it's easy to control us. You pit one group, I don't care what group, how many are there right now? There's a million groups. You pit one group against another group.
Yep.
Now once they're fighting against each other, they control the strings. And they're running the show. So in the movie, the representation of truth, of discernment, is the glasses. So what happens is Roddy Piper's in the movie and he sees somebody moving some boxes and a pair of glasses falls out. So when they all leave, he goes and grabs the glasses and puts them on his face. When he looks up, he sees a billboard and it's a picture of a cheeseburger. And I might not get it exactly correct, but it's been many years since I've watched the movie to get the scenes correct, but the concept is there. And when he sees cheeseburger with the glasses on, it says consume. He takes it off.
Consume.
He sees the cheeseburger. He puts it back on. You see? So what happens is he starts wearing the glasses and it gives him a headache. Can't wear it all the time because it gives him a headache. So the problem is if you know the truth about what's going on, it's going to give you a headache. It's going to hurt your mind. Then it's going to make you act weird because you now know the truth.
Right.
And then he saw these people that when he had the glasses on, they looked like aliens. And when he took the glasses off, they didn't.
Right.
Okay? So what happens now? You're seeing the truth and you can see who is running the show. That's what that represents. Our celebrities, if you're a celebrity in our society, you have already been bought and paid for by they, because you would not be a celebrity if you weren't. And there's many, many, many instances of very famous celebrities who said, look, I didn't agree to do this mess and I got taken down.
Yeah.
I mean, how many do you want to count?
Too many. Too many to count.
It takes no effort at all. And someone came out and said straight up, this is the deal. You know, I refused to do what they wanted and therefore I'm done. That's how celebrity is used. Now, celebrity might not be they, okay? But what do? They don't just do the actions themselves. They bribe or pay other people to do things on their behalf. So when you put your glasses on and look at a celebrity, all you see is a celebrity. You don't see the alien behind it. But the one behind the scenes paying for everything the
Mhm.
media companies that are controlling the celebrities, right?
Yep.
They are the aliens. Those are the ones that are they, but
Mhm.
they're paying for the celebrity to do their bidding. And that's how you see that how Hollywood is very creative because these celebrities, man, they get you want to watch a movie. I'll give you an example. Liam Neeson, man, he does a movie. I want to see every movie that man's ever done. I just love his stuff, right?
Mhm.
I
Right.
love to watch Matt Damon movies. I love to watch Tom Cruise movies. I love to watch those certain celebrities. Gal Gadot, I love to watch any movie she does. Any of these celebrities, I love to watch them because they portray and they do so good. Harry Cavill. I mean, there's so many celebrities that I just love their work, right? And I'll watch anything they make. But who controls those people? That's the Hollywood. That's behind the scenes. So now you have to understand that when you're watching these movies, be careful because many movies, and I'm going to use the term because it's a very understandable term because we know what it means, but it's called woke. And that's a whole different subject about how that thought process is eroding the fabric of our base. Our foundation to our house is being eroded by that philosophy. So that'll be a completely different subject. We have to talk about that. But we can get into that one where we can talk about, well, how's this personally affecting me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know this stuff, but how's it affect me? And we're going to get into how does it affect you? So I think you might have had another question about the entertainment industry.
Yeah. So what real world figures or institutions we kind of already touched on that.
Mm-hmm. So that you were
okay, here we go. How does the movie They Live critique the notion of celebrity and the facade presented by those?
So the facade is that the character portrays the actor portrays a character which then sucks you in. Now you want to consume that media now really big time. So once you consume the media, it's the story behind it or the subliminal story behind it. So for example, have you ever heard about product placement?
Oh, absolutely. They do it all the time.
Yeah. So you watch a movie of a certain studio and they always show Cadillacs. You see another movie, they always show Ford cars. You show a movie where you can see a Pepsi sitting on the table. You know it's a Pepsi because you see the coloring of the Pepsi. We don't see it says Pepsi, but you see the Pepsi there.
Absolutely.
You watch a UFC fight or a boxing match, and what do they do at the end? They grab the can of whatever it is and they drink it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening is that messaging is saying celebrity endorses this message. You're enjoying the movie, but this product is also associated with what you're enjoying. So because the product is associated with what you're enjoying, you're now going to want to consume that product. And the ticker is there that, oh yeah, that's right. Pepsi. I remember I was watching that. And you don't think about it consciously.
Right.
It's all subconscious stuff. It's all subconscious. It's all set for you to behave in a certain manner.
Yeah.
Consume the products that are placed out there for you to consume.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to eat healthy in today's world, okay, you want to eat healthy. Number one, it's 2 to 3 times the cost. The next thing is it's so difficult with all of the false healthy food out there that you're out there going, I don't know what to buy because this says it's healthy,
right?
But really it isn't.
But you know, Mike, that's a prime example of how society is overlapping and falling on itself, because one minute you have what is real and what's the truth, and then the other minute you have what's fake and what's not good for you, and you don't know the difference between the two. And that's exactly what's going on right now. You don't know.
How many years have we told that all of the from the time we were a country, okay, from before we were a country, what is the staple for breakfast? What's for breakfast? Bacon and eggs.
Bacon and eggs.
These folks lived a lot of years on bacon and eggs. No health problem, just living their life, living their best life, bacon and eggs. Now we're told bacon and eggs are evil. So what are you eating in replacement of bacon and eggs? Highly processed food products. They don't even call them food anymore. They're called food products.
Food products, yeah.
cheese, which was my God, cheese and butter. Come on, it's amazing for you. Now dairy is evil. You can't eat any dairy. Wait a minute, I thought cheese was good for you because it gave you all the building blocks, of what you needed, right? It's all the natural fats and the natural stuff that's your body can digest. No. Now you have to eat partially hydrogenated, which is one molecule off of plastic.
Yeah.
And let's not even talk about microplastics that you're ingesting. Well, the thing is, let me cover one final thing that's really important about this movie. And I told you about United We Stand, Divided We Fall. And I am so big on this. This means so much to me as a person, and I'm proud to call myself an American because I love this country. I stood and fought for this country, and I'll do it again. One of the big messages in this movie, and there's a big scene about it and a whole production about this portion of the movie, which is this. When Roddy Piper has these glasses on, he has this other guy who's working with him, okay? And I think his name is Frank.
Yeah.
Movie. When Rowdy tries to put the glasses on, Frank fights him and resists him. Well, in the movie, Roddy Piper's a white guy, Frank's a black guy. And so Rowdy's trying to tell him, hey, you got to put these glasses on, you got to see the truth. And they get a big fist fight, At the very end, after they beat the crap out of each other, Frank grabs the glasses and puts them on. And he's like,
oh, shit. Right. Right.
That moment is such a critical moment. And here's why it's so critical, because what it symbolizes is this. If we cannot come together as a people, I don't give a shit what your color is. I don't care what your ethnicity is. If we cannot come together as a people, as Americans, we are not any kind of Americans. We're Americans, okay? If you're a citizen of this country, you're an American.
You're American.
Are you a citizen of another country? No. Then don't call yourself that. As an example, if I'm a citizen of Mexico and a dual citizen of the United States, I can call myself a Mexican American because I'm dual citizen.
Right. Okay?
But if I am not, and I am only a citizen of the United States, I am an American. Period. End of story. There is no room for anything else. And this is a controversial topic, and people get upset about it, and I'm sorry they do. But if we can't put that aside, they are winning because they are pitting us against each other. And it's absolutely ridiculous that we are against each other when in reality, we have so much more as a people in common, and we have so much more we need to accomplish as a people together. And we're not going to do it without being together. We're just not. We are so divided. And I can apply that same template to anything. We have a huge problem in this country. It's called class. You have your class of people. You think that it's easy to transfer from one class to the next class to the next class? No. We have a very strict class structure in this country where you're not allowed to move from one class to another. The only institution historically in our country which has allowed us to move classes is the military. You can go from low class or the lowest class and go to middle class, which is typically unheard of. But the military gives you the tools to be able to do that, and it helps you to transcend into a higher class.
True.
It's the only institution in the history of our country which does that. That makes us so unique as a people. You want to know what you hear about the word privilege? You know what the privilege is? You're born in the United States of America. Guess what that is? That's the biggest privilege you could ever get in this world right now. Just being here. Because here's why. You have the opportunity to succeed if you want to. Now, if you don't want to succeed, that's on you. But if you want to succeed, you can succeed. That's just the truth of the world we live in. And if you think differently than that, then you're a victim mentality. If you're a victim mentality, you can't succeed. You will fight yourself. You will sabotage yourself. You won't succeed because you don't want to, because you think you're a victim. So even if you are a victim, get over it.
Yeah.
Make it a lesson in your life, not your life.
Absolutely.
Move forward.
Yep.
And we bounced all over the place. But, we must be a unified people. We are not going to survive otherwise. And it's just And I can't put it any stronger than that because it's that important to us.
It's that important. And it was a pivotal scene, as you stated before, in the movie that transcends and opened both individuals who are the main characters of the movie, and it gave them uh concept of what they
It's
were
possible.
up. Yeah. Yep.
And then together,
Hmm.
they could actually make a difference.
Make a difference.
But they
That's
weren't
what,
making a difference alone.
nope.
That's the whole point about that part of the movie. They did not begin to make a difference until then.
They were together. Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is Big Mike. I'm Turbo the CEO. Go watch They Live if you haven't seen it.
And if you
Please
can't watch
go
it,
watch it.
if you can't watch it, go to Wikipedia, look it up, and read the plot.
Mhm. Read the plot. Great plot lines. I think we're going to continue this discussion because we're not finished with They Live. There's some more talking points that we wanted to talk about that we were unable to talk about. So we're going to talk about those again, or on the next episode on this Tuesday. So stay tuned for that. Y'all enjoy yourselves. Enjoy your Sunday. Monday is tomorrow, and new work week. Be thankful. Be grateful. Let's get it done. We're better together than we are apart. And gotta say it, I'm the Final Boss. This is the Final Boss podcast. This is for entertainment purposes only. Y'all have a great night. Go watch some football, enjoy your family, and go watch They Live.